Ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon to you all, and thank you for joining us. My name is Lubna Bouza. I'm the head of business news at Sky News Arabia, and I am both thrilled and honored to be part of this event and share stage with distinguished panelists. We don't have much time, and we have so much to discuss, so I'm going to dive right in. Charles, let me start with the investment ADQ did. They acquired a minority stake in Sotheby's. Could you explain the significance of this investment and how it might influence or support your plans for growth, expansion, and innovation?
Sure. Thank you very much. Our new partnership with ADQ and by extension Abu Dhabi more broadly is a tremendously exciting next chapter for us at Sotheby's. We are a 280-year-old company, and this investment powers us into the future. I think beyond the capital itself, clearly it deepens our strategic connection to not just the UAE, but to the Middle East more broadly, which for us, I think as you've heard a lot at this conference, is one of the most significant growth opportunities in the world, and we're very committed to developing it. And then lastly, we think about some of the other areas of focus here in the UAE, whether it's cryptocurrency or artificial intelligence. And again, it opens new areas of possibility for us to develop our business in the world of art and luxury against those exciting areas of growth.
Amazing. Ayman, you have here amazing comic books with significant value. I need you to tell me why they are so expensive and explain a little bit about them.
Well, I think rather than expensive, I think of them as valuable and almost invaluable because they capture history. You have Action Comics 1, both of the highest graded copies in the market on stage there. And to think about history and to realize that the day before that comic book was published, there was no Superman in the world.
Wow.
And the same thing goes for Spider-Man and Iron Man. Those are the first appearances of both characters. And so to the comic book fan and to the fans of that particular genre and culture, they capture that history, that day, that morning, there was no Spider-Man, there was no Iron Man in the world, and there was no Superman, which is, to us, inconceivable. And so the value of them is very high because, one, they represent that history, but second of all, they're the highest graded copies that are out in the market. And so to have survived since 1938 to now and be almost, it's a 9.0 out of 10, to survive that history, all of these years, the elements, everything, to still be almost like the day it was published is incredible.
Please forgive me for this question, but what is the total value of those 4 books?
Well, estimated, the Action Comics 1 is well above $10 million.
Okay, which one is the most expensive piece?
Both of
Look
them,
at this.
because they're twins, essentially.
Okay.
So
we could have an auction right now and determine the value if you want, no problem, right here in the room.
The number kind of, makes them the same. They're two slightly different, just like we would have, if you have twins, even identical, they're not identical completely. But the Action Comics 1 are the most valuable comic books because Superman and the story of Superman started the entire superhero genre. Superheroes didn't exist before Superman.
Yep.
Caped superheroes didn't exist.
Exactly.
So.
I'm going to steal one of them before I wrap up. Alex, we'll move to you. What business principles have contributed to making Richard Mille one of the world's most wanted luxury brands in such a very short time compared to similar brands?
First, I would like to say that I'm a huge comic book buff, and to be in the presence of this one, I never thought that I would be there next to it. To answer your question, it's a lot of principles that we have that make the brand what it is, but you can start by saying that creation for us is everything. Development is everything. We want to make sure that we are always something to say, something new to say, and to bring on the table. Then, if we talk purely about business, it's a very selective distribution. We don't produce that many watches, so we want to make sure that...
What is the criteria you follow?
Say again?
What is the criteria you follow?
The criteria, it's just to make sure that we can control everything from beginning to the end when it comes to the distribution and the allocation of the watches.
How can I get a watch?
By going to one of our boutiques, talk with our very nice and very well-trained staff and cross finger.
Okay, I'll tell them I was sent by the CEO, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, definitely. We go after if you want.
Okay, when I have a $500,000 dirham, I'll definitely do that. Thank you, Alex. Back to you, Charles. Can you tell us how the company can enhance the experience for premium clients and how has this service evolved over time?
Well, I just wanted to start by agreeing on how special it is to be in the presence of these extraordinary objects here, because you've been asking about value. Value is subjective. I really don't think the value is a function of passion, is a function of the symbolism they represent, of the feeling that it generates. It's very, very hard to quantify. The price on the cover of those comic books is probably 5 cents or something, 10 cents. And we're talking about them being worth however many billions. And so I think that, when we talk about, presenting art, presenting luxury objects, whether it's in a retail setting, in an exhibition, certainly in, what we do, the exhibition and how you present things, how you curate is so important. And the experience, because you need people to have the context, to have the education, to be in the mood, to be in the right frame of mind, to really experience and understand what they're looking at. So for us, we deal in physical objects. We sold nearly $8 billion of art and luxury last year. And it's all about creating the right context for the objects, whether it is a 50 million Mercedes, an extraordinary, one-of-a-kind comic book, or a banana duct taped to a wall.
But also, I think
he has to bring it up.
Yeah, I mean the banana. Yeah, I mean he's the only person who can, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It'll be the only time we're talking about a banana duct taped to a wall this week. But I think actually, as a comment on this question of value and luxury, it says it all. I mean, it's quite funny, but it gets to the point of what is value. It's a banana duct taped to a wall that sold for $6.25 million. And when it first sold in 2018 for $120,000, people thought that was bananas. And then for 6 years later, for that to have appreciated this significantly, it shows that, the person bought it because they thought it was a powerful conceptual art statement. And it was proven out to also be a very good investment, but that's not necessarily why they bought it. And I think that says a lot about the community and the audience and how people approach, the experiences and ultimately what they buy and why they buy it.
And you also have the subject of trust. I mean, a brand like yours that has built a reputation where in that environment, there's also the element of trust that you've curated something, that you've presented something that is worth investing in. You don't, just because somebody's looking to sell something, it doesn't mean that it's worth selling.
It's true in everything that all of us do. The level that it has to be authentic, it has to be correct, it has to be trusted. I couldn't agree more.
I totally agree. Without making sure that people will believe everything you say and will believe everything you do, it cannot work. If you want to create value, and that's why, for example, very quickly about us, since the very first day, we put a big emphasis on service, after-sales service for the watches, because we wanted to make sure we're a very young brand, and we had it to prove to people that in 100 years from now, we will still be there and we will still be taking care of our watches. We couldn't be the flavor of the month. We have to prove that we are here seriously.
If I ask you about one thing, you believe it is the secret behind your business, would it be value or passion?
It's both. It has to be both.
It's
if it's not both.
It's the merging of both.
Yeah, I think it's the intersection of, kind of a market-based mindset. We are a marketplace, but also a passion and trust and the power of symbolism. So the merger of those things together is what drives value.
Thank you, Charles. Back to you, Ayman. Tokenization represents a tremendous opportunity for fans and collectors in the world to engage with this market in a new way. How do you see this evolving going forward?
Well, what we've the area of tokenization is a big passion of ours, and we're big believers in it, to the point where we intend to tokenize ourselves. I've built a platform with a team, starting with social, and then recently buying a stock exchange, where we've merged the two with the idea that community ownership is a very powerful tool that has yet to be unlocked. Fan bases being able to own a piece of the things that they care about and being able to drive culture and owning a piece of culture. Whether it's a collection of comic books, which I am considering tokenizing and having the fans be able to own a piece of, to a football team or a game or a movie. Culture is kind of being decided on by a select few who are deciding what we're consuming, how the movement of culture into the future looks like. And what tokenization does, coupled with a social network, allows to happen is for the fans to come together and buy into the things that they care about, back them, and for those things to reward those fans in a journey that they go on together. And today, we're really proud that, and we're announcing that we're partnering with Avalanche, who are now investors in our platform. And what Avalanche bring to the table is the scalability that we need for this very big idea. We're looking to unlock potentially trillions in fan-based assets that are sitting, waiting for the fans to be able to back them. And what tokenization is, really, if we wanted to sum it up, it's the IPO of anything. And so if we can IPO fan-based assets and bring fans to the table and have a social network be the interface between investment and fandom, and these, and connect between fandom and these fan-based assets, I think we're looking at a very new marketplace of alternative assets that can be driven by passion in an environment that they can trust.
An untapped potential, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Back to you, Alex. Based on what on your answer, you said that innovation is central to your company, and I'm very curious to know which innovations are your favorites, and what makes them stand out to you.
When I saw the question and when I heard that we only had 20 minutes, that was very hard for me. There's a lot of things that I love. What I will say more generally, what I love about our innovation is the fact that we work very hard, and it's very difficult for us to make things very easy for the user of the watches, the owner of the watch. So I will say that, for example, if you take our carbon TPT, that is still very different than any other carbon people can propose, other brand can propose. The goal is to have a very striking aspect, like aesthetical aspect, but also durability that nobody can match. So it's very easy for the customer to wear that watch because it's light, but it's also super resistant. Now we also have some function like the watch that I'm wearing has the fast winding, meaning that when you put your watch, you can just press that button and it will start up your watch. Compared to just playing with the crown forever and hoping that your watch will wind, you just press a button. It's all of those things that are very difficult for us to do, but we love that, we love the challenge, but very easy ultimately for the person to use.
Thank you. Our last round of questions will be on investment, because of course we were just discussing how during COVID we had people rushing to invest in different assets. Charles, let's start with you. How do you see the growing trend of high net worth individuals and institutions looking at art as an asset class for investment?
Yeah. Well, I think we've talked a bit about the idea of value and an asset class. I think it can sometimes be a bit dangerous to look at art only as an investment. In fact, people that approach the market that way, I think often it's not quite the right mindset. You should buy something because you love it, because it has meaning and value to you, and then when you do it, oftentimes you end up creating a lot of value as a consequence or byproduct. But if you look at it only as investment, I think it can be dangerous. That said, what we're trying to do is offer more ways for high net worth clients to access our platforms, whether it's going into new categories like collectibles, comics, sports, game-worn sports, and so on. We've entered into collecting cars, among other things recently, but also, going deeper into regions where there's a lot of opportunity, of which, again, I think the Middle East is probably one of the most significant. Lastly, we're investing in technology because new generation expect digital-first experiences that have to be made seamless with the fact that the objects are physical. And so, whether it is using blockchain technology to support, the interests and needs of younger collectors, or investing in, digital approaches to our markets, those are all areas of investment and focus for us.
Amazing. Thank you very much. Ayman, how do you envision the future of luxury art assets in the broader investment market? And how you compare them to real estate, for example, or equities or bonds?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think a lot of people invest, and they're not, they invest in waves based on trends. And I think the smarter investments are the ones where you have some information, not some information, as much information that you're passionate about knowing and understanding. When I got into comic book collecting, I didn't go into it as an investment. I went into it because I understood the characters and the significance of this. And I called it the Impossible Collection because I didn't set out to build a collection. I just wanted a piece of these fantastic characters' history. And so today, it's one of the best investments I've made because I know so much about it. Yeah. I don't buy outside of the characters that I love. I don't try to do that. I don't look at it as an investment with a return, but it's given me significant return. Yeah. That's where we think fan-based assets and people investing in things that they understand, that they have some agency over, is important. And having that as being part of your portfolio, I think, will be more performant than investing in something that you're just seeing in the news because you don't know when to buy, when to sell. You're completely detached of it emotionally, and therefore the information is not going to be as much.
So you'll never sell them, right?
I'm sorry?
I'm assuming you will never sell them.
Well, tokenizing is a kind of selling, but it's more of a sharing. And that's why I'd be willing to...
I like the words you use. Sharing. That's nice, right?
It very much, that's the spirit of it, absolutely.
Yes, 100%.
So yeah, tokenizing would be having the fans be able to share with me in the journey that I'm on with this collection. It allows me to bring them in, potentially buy books that I wouldn't be thinking about doing and expanding the collection. It really depends. But really the idea is for people to be, I believe that the people who would invest in this and be with me are people who are really passionate about this subject. And that's where tokenization, I think, just opens it up to the world.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Alex, Richard Mills' watches are often regarded as both a work of art, definitely, and a luxury asset. With the increasing interest in luxury art as we see, of course, as an investment class, let me put it that way, do you see collectibles, limited edition watches becoming more sought after alternative to traditional investment like, as mentioned, stocks or real estate or bonds or
I think we had the proof the last year that it shouldn't be looked like it. It should be looked as a customer. It should be looked as something that you appreciate, something that you like, something that you dig, and that you want to own. It should never be seen as oh, I'm going to buy that watch and maybe I'm going to make more money by reselling it in 10 years. It should really be looked like something you want. And as a brand, it's also a danger to try absolutely to reach the fact that your watch will become a luxury asset. You should be working to express yourself as a brand, to make sure that your watches are meaningful for you, and then you will see if success will come.
I would like to show our audience your watch.
I'm afraid we're going to have to stop it there, Lubna. Thank you so much for an amazing panel. I'm edging closer to these fantastic works of art. Thank you so much for talking us through a very, very interesting sector. I'm just having a quick look. They are amazing. Thank you for bringing those in for us. It's quite fascinating as a market, but as we know, buy what you love, value is subjective, but I did like that definition of tokenization, the IPO of anything, so I'll be remembering that one. So thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for that panel.